Hello everyone, my name is Jashan Tulumaran from H2P3 of Cannabis. And this is my proposal for an all-new improved Mars Rover. Okay, the thing is, we all know that the Perseverance Mars Rover landed recently. Well, I wouldn't say too recently, but yes, relatively recently on Mars, and is indeed the successor to so many other Mars rovers, and is indeed improved. However, it still has room for improvisations. And it still has the same mission as the Perseverance Mars rover, however, with a few more increased functionalities. First of all, being that it should be able to function with minimal maintenance. And it should be able to swap out its scientific equipment that it's using whenever it wants to. These are my designs. And this is the base. I've suggested improvements on each part of it. And this is the improvisations and improvements for the base. First would be using shape memory alloy, nitinol to be short, or nickel titanium to be precise, as the main frame of this body. Shape memory alloy is one of those few metals that is capable of reforming itself and back to its original shape after it's dented just by applying heat. So basically, especially when we're using a power source that is already heat-based, radioisotope powered, we can obviously redirect a bit of that heat to maintain this rover as well, which makes it pretty much self-sustained in this sense, in terms of maintenance at least. Reduces the cost of maintenance. And the next part being the power source. Okay, my idea is that the power source shouldn't be too powerful. We should indeed take into consideration how much power it needs and then match that accordingly to the energy usage. Because if it releases more energy, then we just need to cool it down further, and that just becomes useless. Energy that is not being used at any present moment is useless, and the power source will just decay faster than it should. Okay, another thing that I would say is the mast should be improved in terms of zooming capabilities, resolutions. We've all seen the 4K, 8K pictures that we can produce. Why not apply that in Mars? Higher frame rates means more precise pictures. And if there is any signs of life at Mars, we could catch a glimpse with it using 8K pictures. They could be at the corner, but it would be very precise. The scientific tools are all maintained, indeed. But unlike all of this, the one thing that I would like to suggest to add to this one specific rover is that this Mars rover should have its own base. A place where after the Mars rover lands, it has to set up its own base where it can swap out its own utensils, tools, samples, and then a secondary rover should be able to deliver it back to the orbiter. So basically, the Mars rover can function in its own specific process. It shouldn't be doing other tasks. Its job is to take samples. Transporting the samples back to Earth and sending it back to the orbiter, that should be another rover's job, not the main Mars rover job. And as well as that, you can also make the robot have its own robotic arm at the back of its, power source, and also make the power source ejectable. So let's say the power source runs out, you can swap it in a few minutes, and of course, we need to have a secondary power source that acts like a battery, which lets a few basic functions run. It doesn't need to run all functions when you are swapping out a power source, obviously, but it should be able to use a robotic arm to swap out the power source or send distress signals, basic amount of power to pull off at least a bit of functions. That, as well as I think that the drill bit should be finer, because position is all about, tech is all about position. If you want to get more precise samples, then the drill bit obviously has to be finer. And I guess that's about it. These are all maintained from the Mars rover, previous Mars rover called Perseverance, and I just plan on improving what is there. So I made a prototype, and I kind of designed this and dubbed it Fate Mark 1. I'll show you it now. and this is my Mars Rover project. Okay, so it consists of three main parts. First one being the driver, the motor shield driver, that is this one, as well as the sonar. These two are the navigation system. The second part being the battery packs and the power supply over here. Third being the camera module, robotic arm here. All of this is one more set, and this is connected directly into this ESP8266 Wi-Fi module. More on that later. Now I'll explain how each part works, and as risky as it sounds, I'm going to plug in the sonar so it can start working. I'm only going to do this for a while because well, you'll see why I plug it in for a while. Okay, so what looks like utter madness over here is the robot scanning 180 degrees around it and searching for obstacles if there are any. After that, the tires are supposed to move. But of course, I mean, I'm not going to let it move on my table or it's going to roll off. Okay, calm down, but I'm going to plug this out, otherwise it's going to go bonkers. And now I'll explain about the robotic arm next. The robotic arm has an ESP32 that I programmed to connect to the Blink app. For those of you who don't know it, I'll put it right now. And now that you know what is the Blink app, I'm going to show you the rest. I mean, this here is a servo motor, which is connected directly into an Arduino Nano here, as well as a secondary servo motor that is connected into the Arduino Nano as well. And this Arduino Nano feeds power directly from here, this current supply over here, and as well as this ESP8266 is connected to the motor. So if you notice properly, there are two separate systems here. The first one being the camera module and its own circuit to the power. The second one being the robotic arm, which has to transfer data via Wi-Fi. This entire project works on Wi-Fi. This has Wi-Fi, it uses Wi-Fi ESP32 connected to Blink, and the ESP8266 also uses Wi-Fi to transmit data to the Blink app. From there, in the app, you can see basically a screen and two sliders. Then you can adjust the sliders to increase or decrease the height, and then you can control the angle as well. You can be highly specific of the angle that you want to achieve. And this allows you to grab photos at multiple elevations. But don't worry, you don't need to constantly be controlling this. Like I said before, while this thing scans for objects, it will navigate around objects itself, meaning that you don't have to do anything. It will do the rest for you. You just have to choose if you want to take a photo or not, and what angle you want it. And even then, you can just immediately log in into the IP address of this, and then you can immediately check the live stream. You don't just need to take photos from a gallery and view the gallery that is updated periodically. You can also just open the live stream and check the live stream feed from this, meaning you can continuously monitor where it's going. In terms of suspension, we have no suspension. While it's suited for most terrains, it's certainly not suited for very highly elevated terrains. It can't go uphill and all sorts of that. But I mean, this is a prototype. It was meant for low budgets, and ordering custom-made springs certainly isn't going to help with that. Okay, and it's going to be really pricey. And the current price of all of this over here is $121. And this just includes all the components, not the 3D printing, and that's all the effort that you got to put yourself in assembling all of this. I'll share with you guys the code and you can try it out yourself. Hopefully yours turns out better than mine. And you might be able to improve it as well. Maybe add another robotic arm. It's just a copy and paste where you can just edit the arm as you wish. That's all. Thank you. Bye. Okay, as much as I would like to, describe the code, I'm putting the code in the description with the link and you guys can refer to it. I've written comments all over the code. Just refer to it. Bye-bye.